Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I will be looking at a 10-minute game that I played against Orpheus GR and that I won in 18 moves. But before we jump into the game, I'd like to take a moment to look at chess.com's most recent update. So hopefully you see chess.com's article here, and it says that basically 10-minute games are no longer blitz, they are now rapid. So as some of you might know, 10-minute games are like the most popular time control on chess.com, and they used to be rated for blitz on chess.com, and that kind of made rapid players kind of unhappy because they kind of had to play like 15-minute games with 10-second increment, which could drag on for a long time. And basically, chess.com has now made 10-minute games rapid, and because I wanted to improve my rapid rating on chess.com, I decided to play a few games. And the second game I played was this one right here, and here I was white and I won in 18 moves. So without further ado, let's jump into the game. So I was white and I played e4. My opponent responded with c5, which is known as the Sicilian defense. Now here, instead of playing something like knight f3, which is the open Sicilian, or knight c3, which is the closed Sicilian, I played a very eccentric move, which was b4. And now here, this move obviously looks kind of weird, right? Because like black can just take the pawn, and that's exactly what he did in the game. But this is what's known as the Wing Gambit, as you can see from the opening explorer here. So what the Wing Gambit is basically white giving up this b pawn in exchange for central control as well as better piece development. And basically white wants to use that piece development and more spatial control to maybe win the pawn back or get an advantage. So that's kind of the point of this opening. Technically, it's not the best opening. Moves like knight f3 or knight c3, like I said before, are technically considered to be better, but this is just one of those like funny little moves, and most people don't know about it, so I decided to kind of try it out, right? So he takes, which is the correct move, and I play a3. So here my idea is basically if he takes, now my bishop has been activated along this diagonal, and the point being is that if he plays something like e6, now black has lost the right to castle, and white's probably slightly better here. So black doesn't want to take, and here he plays a very logical move. It's not the best, but it's very logical. He played e6, which basically, it's logical, right? You're just defending the pawn that was under attack. But here, in case some of you are wondering, the best move in the position is d5, and it kind of goes something like e takes d5, queen takes d5, knight f3, and I believe it's like knight c6 or something. But basically, the game continues. So here my opponent played e6, which is slightly inferior to d5. And here I already don't know what to do. As I said before, I'm kind of just like playing something random just for fun. So here I just played a very normal move, knight f3. And I'm just developing my pieces, right? I sacked this pawn so I could get my pieces out, and if I don't get my pieces out, then that kind of defeats the purpose of the gambit. So my opponent responds with knight c6, which is a good move. The knight controls a lot of key squares here. I respond with bishop e2, and here, some of you who have played gambits before or seen certain gambits before, such as the Marshall Gambit or the Evans Gambit or the Wing Gambit in the French, you probably know that when you give up a pawn, when you give up material in the form of a sacrifice or a gambit, you want to get something back, and usually it's some sort of attack like the initiative, or in this case it's just better piece placement which will lead to an attack. So you might be wondering, like, why did I play such a passive move bishop e2? And I believe this is a really instructive moment because although the bishop is pretty passive compared to some other squares it could have gone to, such as c4 or b5, here the reason why you don't want to really play bishop b5 or bishop c4 is because in this position right here, before move 5, white doesn't really know where he wants his pieces yet. So he doesn't really want to commit to some sort of piece arrangement and then find out that it wasn't too good, right? So here, let's say I play bishop b5. So if black plays something like d6, then that kind of just like justifies bishop b5. Because now the knight's pinned, now I can just take the pawn actually. So that's just better for white. But here, black would much rather play something like a6. And the point being is that now white has to move the bishop again. somewhere, right? Because white doesn't want to take, because if white trades pieces, then he's kind of losing the initiative. He's losing the whole point of sacrificing this pawn. Just think about it. Imagine if all of the pieces on the board, except for the kings and the pawns, were removed. Black would simply just be winning. He's up a pawn, right? So that's a typical defensive strategy. If you're up a pawn, but like your opponent's trying to attack you, try to trade pieces. Okay, that really increases your chances of just being better. So here, bishop b5 would not be good. Bishop c4 would also not really be good because, frankly, first of all, it doesn't really do much. It just stares at e6. Second of all, it'll always run into d5 ideas, right? Whenever black wants to play d5, he's going to be gaining a tempo on my bishop, and I don't really want that. I might even end up trading and moving back to e2 anyway, so I wouldn't really want to waste a move. So here I just play bishop e2. What I'm thinking here is I'm just going to castle, and then I'll think about how to break open the position, how to attack black's king. And now here, black plays a very, very bad move in my opinion. He plays b6. Now, some of you might be wondering why this is a bad move, and I don't blame you, because b6 looks like a very natural move. Black's going to fianchetto his bishop on a nice long diagonal, put some pressure on e4, it all looks good, right? But here the point is, white wants to attack black's king, right? So that's a very simple concept here. White gave up a pawn for an attack, and although the attack isn't here yet, it's going to come soon. So basically, if you're black, you probably want to try to like get castled or something, kind of defend your king. You don't really want to be developing on the queen side because castling on the queen side doesn't really make sense. So I feel like instead of b6, any move with either the dark square bishop or the knight on the king side would have been better because it would have prepared castling. And if black gets to castle, then I think the position's either equal or slightly better for black because it's really not clear how white continues. Instead, he played b6, and here I just went along with my own plan. I just castled, get my king out of the center, and then I'll blow open the position, right? So he plays another very, very bad move here. He played d5. And the reason why d5 is bad, well, the two reasons why d5 is bad is one, he didn't develop a single piece. He pushed a pawn again. And two, he's opening up the position, which is what I want, not what he wants. Like, if your king's under attack, why would you want to open up more files, more ranks, more diagonals towards your king? That's not logical. So here, I simply just take, because that's opening up files for me. He takes with the queen because, e takes d5 is just like asking for trouble along the e file. Queen takes d5, and here I played a very sneaky move, I believe. It was c4. So the point of c4 is not really to like hope that black doesn't notice that I'm attacking the queen. The point is rather to gain a tempo and develop a piece. So here, I believe, something like queen d8 would have been best. However, he took en passant, which is a mistake, because as you can see from the eval bar, now I am better. After knight takes c3, I developed another piece and gained the tempo, so he had to go queen d8, so he undeveloped his queen. So now, as you can see in this position, I have 3 pieces developed here. My king's castled, and black only has 1 piece developed. And both these pieces that need to move out of the way before he castles have not moved yet. So this is pretty bad for black, as you can see from the eval bar on the left. So here I play d4, a very natural move. I'm preparing ideas like d5, opened up my bishop, standard move. Knight f6, finally he starts developing the king side, but I believe it's already kind of late. Here I play bishop b5, taking advantage of this diagonal here, pinning the knight. He played bishop d7 to basically block the pin. Now the knight is no longer pinned because of the bishop. And here I played a very sneaky move, queen a4. So basically, there are lots of good moves here. I believe d5 is good. I believe knight e5 is probably good too. But here, queen a4 is really what I thought of during the game as the best move. And the reason is, there's a lot of tactical ideas here. So although the computer didn't like that move, right? You saw I was much, much better here. But after queen a4, now it's more like slightly better for white. The point is, in a practical game, creating these types of threats is quite annoying for your opponent. And after queen c8, knight e5, knight takes e5, d takes e5, here my opponent made a crucial mistake. So here, I'm not quite sure what the defense is for black. Perhaps it's something like knight d5. Yep, that's probably it, something like that. But instead, he played bishop takes b5, which I'm pretty sure loses the game. So, so the point here is, in case you're wondering why black can't just take the knight, is because after e takes f6, um, oh, not after e takes f6. Well, let's try to find the winning move here. What is good for white? So actually, yeah, I do think it's e takes f6. And the point being, if queen takes a1, I believe you just take on d7. And now bishop g5, I believe, wins on the spot. Okay, so queen takes c3 isn't the best. After bishop takes b5, which occurred in the game, I played knight takes b5, setting up all sorts of discovered checks. Knight e7 only moves, solving the threat of taking the knight and discovered checks. But here, pause the video and find what I believe is the winning move in this position. Alright, so hopefully you have paused the video, taken a couple minutes to think about this position. So here, I believe the move is bishop e3. And the reason why this is a good move here is because now white is threatening a bunch of things. For instance, rook c1, followed by knight c7, forking the king and the rook. So my opponent saw that, and he made a very horrific blunder after seeing that, which was bishop c5. And unfortunately, guys, this isn't so great, because after bishop takes, here he should have taken with the knight, because that still gives him some chances. But here he took with the pawn, and hopefully you can see the tactic here. The winning move is knight d6. And my opponent resigned, because if he moves the king, which he has to, I will take the queen next. So, basically, the moral of this story, the moral of this game is play the Wing Gambit. No, I'm just kidding. The moral of this story, the moral of this game is to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. Alright, thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this game review, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.